How much African history do you get in school right now? How many Africans know that the vaccination for smallpox was developed by a black person? A slave, a Ghanaian that was enslaved right here in the United States. How many of us know that 85% of all scientific discoveries was by black people? How many people knew that it was the black Africans, the black Hmong that taught Europeans how to take a bath, how to shower, how to wipe their own behind?
Wow.
It was the black Hmong that taught Europe everything. As a matter of fact, if you go to Europe right now, go to Russia, go to the Vatican, you're going to see the Black Madonna. See the Black Madonna. Half of the saints in the Christian church were black.
Yes.
But every saint in the Russian Orthodox Church is black. We also need to understand the fact that the narrative in the world today is controlled by those people that have the power to control the press. It's a little different in today's world now because you have podcasts like yours and all that, but hopefully through Pan-African movement, we can bring together the solidarity needed to move Africa forward.
Stephen Biko of South Africa, what he had said to young South Africans was this: you have a responsibility to hold on to your mind, because the most powerful tool in the hands of an oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Yes. Now, the oppressed don't always know that. What the Europeans have done is use our minds to work against us. Now, you know what a tool is. A tool is something you use to break something up or to build something. Our spirituality was a tool that was used to break our minds by disconnecting us from our spirituality. If you take a man's spirituality away from him, you render him useless. So the purpose of Chiism is to reintroduce our spirituality, that connection. Right where I am, Chineke is. In the midst of us, every single we have breath. We have been disconnected from Monachisto. I am one with the Creator. So now we're seeing the divine outside of us, whereas Chi is within us. That has been the practice of our ancestors. When we reclaim our spirituality, then we start to establish the value system that would help us move forward from where we are. We're in the valley as a people. We need to get back to the mountaintop where we used to be. If we reclaim our spirituality, we'll find a need to be unified as a people. It is our collective responsibility, according to our ancestors, to make sure that our communities are safe, that the women are safe, that the children are safe, that the community is clean, that everybody eats. That is collective responsibility. That's spirituality. That is Chiism. Chiism as a Pan-African program reminds us that cooperative economics is an imperative for growth. We must buy from each other, sell to each other, rise with each other. Africa has everything that we need.
Yes.
And the other thing is, what is our purpose? Chiism reminds us we have a purpose. The purpose of every one of us, every black person, is to make this world greater than we found it.
It is what it is.
All right.
Okay, did you marry?
No, I married.
The first question. Okay.
I thought I was handsome, but these two guys right here, Lord have mercy.
Nice one, sir. Thank you, sir.
I will say this, as my father would say, just because of the exercise that we're involved in now, I'm actually beyond the ladies, in front of me. In my world right now, I'm looking at two of the greatest Africans for having the courage to have this kind of calling. That's what it's all about.
Yes, sir.
That's really what it's all about. people that are aware of their responsibility to their community. And this is part of that responsibility, and I'm very proud of you guys.
Yeah. Yeah.
But the Abrahamic religions of Judaism and Christianity hangs God above you, puts God somewhere else, tells you that for you to get to Chineke, there's a middleman.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Muhammad.
I get what you mean,
If
sir.
you want to talk to Chineke, you can't just wake up in the morning and say, Chineke, the European has come to tell you, you can no longer have a direct relationship with Chineke, with the Creator. For you as an African who is used to connecting with Chineke directly, but when the Europeans came and colonized Africa and enslaved Africans, all of a sudden, they put a distance between you and Chineke. You now require a middleman for you to talk to Chineke. My father used to tell us the story or ask us a question. If you want to ask me for something, I'm your father, and you need me to ask, you want to ask me for something, or you want me to forgive you for something you've done, or whatever it is that you need from me. Do you ask your brother or your sister to come talk to me?
No.
Or do you come to me directly and say,
We'll come to you directly, sir.
Go to you directly.
This is African traditional religion. This is the spirituality that our ancestors, our forefathers, interacted with Chineke, with their personal chi, until the European who enslaved and colonized you came and took everything that made you who you were before they came. All the principles that you had when you came to religion, the educational systems that you established before they came, your spirituality, your school system, your age grade system, all those things that kept you culturally anchored in your social responsibility was all of a sudden jettisoned. And somebody now tells you that for you to be considered civilized, you now have to do things their way. African education is really the key to everything, and access to information. If you guys remember, I know as a Nigerian who went to school in Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Sibiri will tell you the same thing. They told us that Mungo Pa
Discovered River Nile.
I just want as an African, as a Pan-African, and somebody who's got some kind of sense. Were there people living there before this man showed up?
Yes, there are people.
Because if there were people living by the River Niger, then he didn't discover anything.
Actually.
Yes, sir. I get where you're coming from.
Exactly.
When you go to school, when you go to school and they give you the exam, they give you the test, they're going to tell you who discovered the Niger River. If you said that the indigenes discovered it, you will fail that test. But the truth is, they discovered it before Mungo Park showed up.
What's going on in our world today is not religion, it's a business.
Yes.
These people are running businesses. That's it.
Yep. That's it.
And because they're running businesses, some of those principles that they preach, they don't apply it.
True.
So what theism is about development of the self. If you develop yourself, then you can develop your neighbor. And now one more last thing I want to say is ndị Igbo na-asị ndị mkpụrụ abụ onye mkpụrụ gwa ya akpụ ka sị ọkpụkọ onye ọda amaghị nke ya akpa onye ọda amaghị nke ya akpa onye let me say that again in case you didn't get it. Ịra akpụkọ onye ọdọ ma onye ọda amaghị nke ya akpa igbo iberibe. You talk about other people's lives and things and history, but nobody talks about yours. You can't even tell about you. You're a fool. So we are walking around here foolishly propagating other people's history, everything, religion. But nobody talks about us. That's an insult to us. and certainly somebody is born, but we're human first. That you are Muslim is because maybe your parents were Muslim.
Yes,
That you are a Christian is because your parents were Christian. It is taught. It is not an inherent way to be. It's something that you learn. So there is no reason to quarrel with anybody who is perfecting or promoting what they learned. So that's one of the things that she isn't to heart.
They have the educational system was forced on you, their educational system.
Yeah, I think that
their political system, everything European was forced on you, whether you liked it or not. And now you speak somebody else's language. Even some people, you can't even speak Igbo in their house. If you speak Igbo, they say, why are you speaking Igbo? Speak English.
He cannot speak
And now you
Igbo.
have children. You understand?
He cannot
So,
speak Igbo.
that is what happens when your mind messed up and you have what we call Stockholm syndrome, where the bank robber who ordered food for people that were taken hostage, who worked at the bank, came out to say all kinds of good things about the bank robber, all because the bank robber gave them something to eat while he was robbing the bank.
Yeah, to add,
This is Africans for you.
exactly.
This is how we are. Stockholm syndrome.
Hello, guys.
Hello.
Yeah. Good day, Mr. Yudi.
Good day. How you doing?
I'm good. Good day, Ma. Welcome, Ma. Hello, Ma. Can you hear me?
She must be having issues with her connection.
Can you hear me now?
But anyway.
Okay. Welcome to Bigger Thoughts podcast. I'm your host, Max Celebrity, and I'm with my co-host.
Well, my name is Sir Legacy.
Okay. And today's section, we're about to commence today's section. Is everyone there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay. All right. I'm about to kick off today, and I wanted us to pray. So, sir, can you lead us in prayer as we start this section?
Yes. Ụzọ anyị niile ọbụla buru ife ọbụla kasara aka ka ọ bụkwa mma ile site ụzọ na program a mụsị obi anyị taa na ebighị ebi ọfọ ya gazie ise hụ. That's my prayer for the day.
Okay, sir.
Amen.
Amen. So, sir, can you tell us about yourself?
My name is Udenis. My full name is Udenis Kamonyo. I'm the second son of Ahai Obajake Oke Onyo. I'm from Ngoro. I live here in the United States. I went to school, my high school in Nigeria. I went to St. Patrick's secondary school, and then was later changed to MN High School. And then I left in 1980 to the United States.
Okay.
And Georgia Tech and High Chiefs Research.
Okay. Yes, sir.
Worldwide. It's my current. Also the creator of African Calendar.
Okay, sir. That's nice.
Yeah.
That's nice to know about you. So, Mama, what about you? Who are you, and can you tell us about yourself?
First of all, let me thank you for this wonderful invitation, and thank you for that. I'm okay with your job. I'm the spiritual leader of the Global Faith Ministries of Chisholm. I'm also the president of the African Women Mobilization Commission and the Global Foundation in the United States. I'm also a talk show podcaster, so to speak. The Morning Show, and also Chisholm Live podcast. I'm here in the United States, and it's a pleasure to be here today.
Okay, sir. Okay, Ma. Nice to meet you. My name is Max Celebrity, and I'm a celebrity podcaster, celebrity influencer, and I was discussing with Mr. UD like a month ago. I happened to come across him through a friend of mine. We were talking about a lot of stuff, especially about Pan-Africanism. And yeah, I would like to ask you guys some questions. If you don't mind, throwing a question to Mr. UD. Could you tell us what you stand for when it comes to Pan-Africanism? And can you shed some light on the Global Faith ministry that you're affiliated with? And, let us know about your foundation and what your organization stands for.
Yeah, Global Faith Ministry of Chiism is anchored on the Pan-African movement worldwide, which is a belief system that states that all people of African descent share a common history. We have a connected future and a unified identity. And Pan-Africanism aims to encourage solidarity, fight against racial injustice, and support political and economic, progress across Africa and the global diaspora. So Global Faith Ministries, in particular, as a philosophy, supports the Pan-African sense of solidarity, unity, projecting what is African above anything else, this shared understanding Africans and those men share a common history, enemy in the world, because the truth of the matter is when somebody sees you as an African or as a black person, they're not interested if you're from Burma village or you're from Lagos or you're Ghanaian or from South Africa or Kenya. Nobody cares.
Actually,
the world sees black
as Africans.
Regardless of where you come from, you could be from Jamaica, it doesn't really matter. You were African first before you became Jamaican. You were African first before you became a black European. You were African first before you became an African American. You were African first before you became Haitian. So Pan-Africanism promotes this solidarity for us to understand that no matter where we come from, we're all black. No matter where you come from. As a matter of fact, beyond the Pan-African movement, humanity came from Africa anyway. So we're just being a little bit more myopic with the Pan-African movement that says that people of African descent share a common history, we have a common future, and a unified identity. And it's up to us as people of African ancestry to embrace this and move ahead with our challenges in unity and solidarity, because that's really the only way. Maya Angelou, who is a poet or was a poet here, she's passed on, God bless her soul, talked about the fact that when you ball all your fingers together, you could strike a mighty blow. But if you hit something or someone with your fingers open, it's just a slap. So we, people of African ancestry, we're going through our challenges without clenched fists, not understanding that it is this unity and solidarity that will really help us to overcome this constant barrage of hate that we experience worldwide. And that is also responsible for the reason why Africans today have different challenges than most other nations in the world because of this global hate, this story that has been told about Africans and our contributions to civilized behavior that has nothing to do with reality. We also need to understand the fact that the narrative in the world today is controlled by those people that have the power to control the press. It's a little different in today's world now because you have podcasts like yours and all that, but hopefully through Pan-African movement, we can bring together the solidarity needed to move Africa forward.
Exactly, sir. Well, that's well spoken of. And sir, if I may ask you, right, can you explain what Chimism is, if you don't mind? Mrs., can you take over the floor and explain what Chimism is? Because I went through the website. It's a concept I've been seeing everywhere. But if you don't mind explaining to the viewers what Chimism is.
Well, first and foremost, it is important to understand that your spirituality is where you derive your value system. Africans have not rallied around anything that allows them to express their value system from their perspective. from the perspective of their ancestors. What Chiism is trying to do is give us a platform to rally around so that we can revisit our glorious past into the present. Now, I don't know how many of you are familiar with Stephen Biko of South Africa. What he had said to young South Africans was this: you have a responsibility to hold on to your mind, because the most powerful tool in the hands of an oppressor is the mind of the oppressed. Yes. Now, the oppressed don't always know that. What the Europeans have done is use our minds to work against us. Now, you know what a tool is. A tool is something you use to break something up or to build something. Our spirituality was a tool that was used to break our minds by disconnecting us from our spirituality. If you take a man's spirituality away from him, you render him useless. So the purpose of Chiism is to reintroduce our spirituality, that connection. Right where I am, Chineke is. In the midst of us, every single we have breath. We have been disconnected from Monachisto. I am one with the Creator. So now we're seeing the divine outside of us, whereas Chi is within us. That has been the practice of our ancestors. When we reclaim our spirituality, then we start to establish the value system that would help us move forward from where we are. We're in the valley as a people. We need to get back to the mountaintop where we used to be. If we reclaim our spirituality, we'll find a need to be unified as a people. We find unity, not just in the community, but also within ourselves and within our families. That's what Chiism is talking about. Unity. We must be unified around something that belongs to us. Secondly, we need to rally around something that will encourage us to engage in self-determination, speak for ourselves, define ourselves, and stop allowing other people to do that for us. Something that will let us look at each other, look at ourselves, look at our communities and see it is our collective responsibility, according to our ancestors, to make sure that our communities are safe, that the women are safe, that the children are safe, that the community is clean, that everybody eats. That is collective responsibility. That's spirituality. That is Chiism. Chiism as a Pan-African program reminds us that cooperative economics is an imperative for growth. We must buy from each other, sell to each other, rise with each other. Africa has everything that we need.
Yes, ma'am.
And we need to be able to tap into those resources. And the other thing is, what is our purpose? Chiism reminds us we have a purpose. The purpose of every one of us, every Black person, is to make this world greater than we found it.
Yes, I understand
that. Is our role.
I understand that. Everything you said makes sense. Also, back to the whole, we are still slaves mentally. I'll give you an instance. The white person, they're very proud of their hair. They don't go about cutting their hair. But Africans, over here we see our grown hair as unkept, and I believe others was dirty. So I believe that those were pre-colonial input on us. Until now, a few of us are still not able to break past that.
I agree, but it is what it is.
All right.
Okay, did you marry?
The first question. Okay.
Well, I thought I was handsome, but these two guys right here, Lord have mercy.
Oh God! Nice one, sir. Thank you, sir.
But I would say this, as my father would say, just because of the exercise that we're involved in now, I'm actually beyond the ladies, in front of me. In my world right now, I'm looking at two of the greatest Africans for having the courage to have this kind of calling. That's what it's all about.
Yes, sir.
That's really what it's all about. People that are aware of their responsibility to their community. And this is part of that responsibility. And I'm very proud of you guys.
Yes, sir.
Very.
Okay, sir. We will move to the next questions. But before that, I want you to say hi to the crew. Everyone is here. Say hi to the crew. You guys should say hi.
Hello. How y'all doing? How's everybody? All right.
So these are the crew. Nice. So yeah, we're going to move to the next question. So I guess that's the next question. Number one. Yeah. Number one, yeah.
Okay, so the next question is, how does Chiism understand God compared with Christianity, Islam, and Judaism? That's how does Chiism understand God compared to Christianity, Islam, and Judaism?
Okay. First of all, Africa has a problem with Abrahamic religions, and I'm going to explain why. In Chiism, there's from us to Chineke, there's no distance, right? All God's blessings, all Chineke's blessings flow through somebody.
Okay.
So for us, we have complete respect and understanding that goodwill comes from our fellow human beings, nothing else, right? And the Chi is that you connect with the Creator. You have the spiritual part of you, you have the physical part. The physical part is connected to Chineke through your Chi. The voice you hear in your head telling you what is right, what is wrong. As we say in Igbo, if you listen closely with your ears to the ground, you will hear the footsteps of the ant. That ant is your Chi. Oh, Chineke, that's your guiding light. That's the one that tells you what is right and what is wrong, the kinds of decisions that you need to make to be able to get to your akaraka, your destiny. The difference between African spirituality, not just Chiism, but African spirituality in general, and Abrahamic spirituality or religion like Islam and Christianism and Judaism is because, particularly Islam and Christianism, because there's a little bit of a connection between Judaism and African traditional spirituality. But the Abrahamic religions of Judaism and Christianity hangs God above you, puts God somewhere else, tells you that for you to get to Chineke, there's a middleman.
Yes.
Jesus Christ. Muhammad.
I get what you mean,
If
sir.
you want to talk to Chineke, you can't just wake up in the morning and say, Chineke, Chidebere, but the European has come to tell you, you can no longer have a direct relationship with Chineke, with the Creator. For you as an African who is used to connecting with Chineke directly, but when the Europeans came and colonized Africa and enslaved Africans, all of a sudden, they put a distance between you and Chineke. You now require a middleman for you to talk to Chineke. My father used to tell us this story or ask us a question. If you want to ask me for something, I'm your father. And you need me to ask, you want to ask me for something, or you want me to forgive you for something you've done, or whatever it is that you need from me. Do you ask your brother or your sister to come talk to me?
No.
Or do you come to me directly and say,
We'll come to you directly, sir.
Go to you directly.
This is African traditional religion. This is the spirituality that our ancestors, our forefathers, interacted with Chineke, with their personal Chi, until the European who enslaved and colonized you came and took everything that made you who you were before the king. All the principles that you had when you came to religion, the educational systems that you established before the king, your spirituality, your school system, your 8th grade system, all those things that kept you culturally anchored in your social responsibility was all of a sudden jettisoned. And somebody now tells you that for you to be considered civilized, you now have to do things their way, not your way.
Actually.
African education is really the key to everything, and access to information. If you guys remember, I know as a Nigerian who went to school in Nigeria.
Yes, sir.
Dr. Sibiri will tell you the same thing. They told us that Mungo Pa
discovered River Nile.
I just want to
It's cracking.
myself as an African, as a Pan-African, as somebody who's got some kind of sense. Were there people living there before this man showed up?
Yes, there are people.
Because if there were people living by the river Niger, then he didn't discover anything.
Actually.
Yes, sir. I get where you're coming from.
Exactly.
When you go to school, when you go to school and they give you the exam, they give you the test, they're going to tell you who discovered the Niger River. If you say that the indigenes discovered it, you will fail that test. But the truth is, they discovered it before Mungo Park showed up.
True, sir.
But if you tell the truth, you become the bad guy, you will flunk that exam, and you will just lose. That's what's going on with us today, even in our world, right? If you say something about African spirituality and you stand strong in it, the world, African people in particular, will come down on you. And the people that are coming down on you are not the traditionalists. They're not the historians. They're not the people that understand Pan-Africanism. The people that will come down on you are the Christians and the Muslims amongst us that tells us that their way is the only way.
It's the only way.
My way or the highway. But Chiism, African spirituality says there's more than one way, because the problem is not whether you believe in Chineke or not. The problem is which is the best way to get to God. That's how, or reason why people are killing each other over methods of God worship, because they believe that their way is better.
So to add to
that's
that,
the difference between Shiism, African spirituality, and the Abrahamic religions of Islam and Christianity.
Yeah, so to add to that, I believe everything you said, because we had a conversation last night. You sent me the link to the website, and I saw something that caught my attention, and I screenshotted that and I showed you. I told you I'm going to use this as my profile picture. I ended up using it as my profile picture. So I saw this on you people's website. It said love is the highest spirituality. Any religion that cannot mix its adherents to love, tolerate and live in harmony with members of other religion is no religion at all. The mutual killings ravaging the religious front everywhere on earth just tells one sad story, that just the world has no true religion. It is the vacuum that Chimism has come to fill, to preach love, to live love, and as a reemergence of the spiritual divine. So this right here, it made sense to me that the reason why Muslims are killing, the reasons why atheists, Buddhists, there's this kind of worldwide religious clash is because we have lost the concept of love. Before this, before reading the Bible, I've always believed that I believe love is the only true religion that exists. Because for me to kill my fellow human being for God, it just proves one thing, that I don't know God.
Yes.
And to quote directly from the scripture, right? They said the greatest commandment is love. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. And I believe that scripture was put out for one singular reason, that if you love your neighbor, you are more likely not to do harm to your neighbor. And if you love yourself, you're more likely not to do harm to yourself. If I use a knife and cut my wrists, I'm going to feel pain. I might probably die. So that thing I know that will hurt me, I cannot do it to my neighbor. And that is how we live in peace in the society. And from what you've explained, that is where Chimism comes in, to direct us under one religion of love, whereby we tolerate ourselves and we connect directly with God. So I love that definition so much. I'm really happy we're having this conversation, because I feel like I'm in the room of...
That's exactly what Shiism is. That's the difference. I just want to add a little bit more. We say man Uchibia.
He said.
We are not to each other. When we talk about love, that's what you're saying in effect. I appreciate you. If within you, as we say, it's in you as well. And the way to show that realization is to respect. One other thing about Shiism it's not how to practice a set of dogmatic principles, but instead it is how do you relate to your fellow human being. Even Ahike Okonyoha, when he went to the United Nations, he told them that you have to redefine civilization to represent more than economic opulence and technological know-how, but your ability to live with your fellow human being and fight to death for their right to express who they are. Love means that everybody has the right to go to God the way they understand best, without quarrels, without bitterness. What's going on in our world today is not religion, it's a business.
Yes.
These people are running businesses. That's it.
Yep. That's it.
And because they're running businesses, some of those principles that they preach, they don't apply it.
True.
So what theism is about development of the self. If you develop yourself, then you can develop your neighbor. And now one more last thing I want to say is let me say that again in case you didn't get it. You talk about other people's lives and things and history, but nobody talks about yours. You can't even tell about you. You're a fool. So we are walking around here foolishly propagating other people's history, everything, religion, but nobody talks about us. That's an insult to us. And certainly so, because we are nobody else. So that's one of the things that if you ask questions, get lost. We are so lost because we don't ask questions.
We're scared to ask.
We're scared to ask questions. I just threw that in there.
Okay. You have something to add to what they said?
Not really. No.
Okay. So, we'll go to the next question. Right. So we'll go to the next question. So going to the second question: can someone be a Christian or a Muslim and still embrace aspect of theism? Can someone be a Christian or a Muslim and still embrace aspect of theism?
Yeah.
I'm also a clinical psychologist. Add the spiritual aspect of access to you. Can you answer that question?
Yes. First and foremost, nobody is born. We're human first. That you are Muslim is because maybe your parents were Muslim.
Yes,
that you are a Christian is because your parents are Christian. It is taught. It is not an inherent way to be. It's something that you learn. So there is no reason to quarrel with anybody who is perfecting or promoting what they learned. So that's one of the things that theism takes to heart. We have a program called OTRA, Organization of Traditional Religions of Africa, or Anthropos. When you say Anthropos, you're talking about world religions coming together. We just had an event the other day where all religions came together to have a conversation about what is and take for the people who are Christian, Muslim, all of that. Because when all is said and done, it is not about your religion, it is about your humanity. What's good about your religion, bring it to the table and let's use that to create a better world for everyone. That's what OTRA is about.
Okay.
Did I answer your question?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Actually.
Yeah. All right.
So yeah, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, I just wanted to add a little bit to what you were saying. Initially, you talked about protecting, someone's right to live, and I had defined civilization as the true definition of civilization is not technological know-how or economic opulence, but when two people see eye to eye, tolerate each other, and defend to death the right of the other to survive, therein lies the true definition of civilization. So another aspect, to answer the question that Dr. Simiri, took on and clarify some things for us. We're not interested in your process. We just care about your humanity.
Yes.
Right? A Christian can be a chaste, because one of the most important parts of chastening is our first creed. Anybody, it doesn't matter if you're a Christian. Remember, you talked about love is the highest religion. Christianity, Hinduism, Buddhism, Urumila, it doesn't really matter. Anyone who believes in the Almighty God, or Chineke, the creator of the heavens and earth, as their source of inspiration, strength, and as their protector, is a chaste. And that Chineke is your source of inspiration. You're a chaste. If you believe in the universal brotherhood or sisterhood of man or woman under the parenthood of one God, if you love your neighbor as you love yourself, do unto others as you would want others to do unto you. Thou shalt not kill. Thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Thou shalt not lie. And in respect and obedience to elders, just laws, and retributive justice. Why do I bring this up? It answers the question that it doesn't matter what your religious affiliation is. You are a chaste, provided you believe of human spirit. If that's what makes you love religion for you, because when you talk about Jesus Christ, you're talking about universal love. Go for it. If you talk about Muhammad and you have love in your heart for every other written, and you're not speaking my way or the highway, you're a chaste. So chasteism exists in every single religion in the world. It's just different about. Also remember, it is the African that gave the world the conscience. The concept of right and wrong started out of Africa. Spirituality developed in Africa before human migration to Europe, Asia, and all over the world. Okay? So understand that love is the highest religion. And if you're Christian, Muslim, Buddhist, it doesn't matter what you are. If you profess these exclusive, moral values, you're a chaste.
Okay.
The difference only lies in the fact that we are progressive in medium. Christianism and Islam believes that the only way for you to get to God is for you to go through their religious heroes.
Okay.
No access to God. Yeah, stop praying to God directly unless you're talking to one of their heroes.
Okay, so let me ask, right? Concerning what you just said, right? You just said that you can be a chaste and also be a Christian, right? So let me ask, right? What are the biggest misconceptions people have about African traditional spirituality? What's the biggest misconception that people have about African spirituality?
The biggest misconception is, number one, is evil. It has nothing to do with Chineke. The biggest misconception is that the African didn't know God until the European came.
That's very false.
Ask you, do you think our ancestors knew Chineke before Jesus came to Africa?
Yes, I'm very sure.
Before Muhammad came?
I'm sure our ancestors.
If we know that, the name, the Chinedu is somebody's name. Was that name in our language before the European came?
Yes, sir.
Yes, it was.
Chukwudi. Did that come before the European?
It did.
Yes, sir. It is.
What about that?
Chukubike.
What about Ngozi blessing? But the evil woman will remove Ngozi and replace it with blessing. Because to her, Ngozi sounds evil. But blessing sounds more like a dog. If you ask a black man, what is your name? He'll tell you, my name is Friday. Really? My name is Monday and Sunday. Happened to Chine. What happened to that? This is what happens when you're miseducated as an African, and from primary school, Or you tells me this I know, for the Bible told me so. Now you're in high school. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible told me so. Now you're in church on Sunday with your mom and dad. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Now you're in university. Jesus loves me, this I know, for the Bible tells me so. Now you get married and join the church. You bring your children back and do the same thing to them. The generations, their knowledge of their Africanness gets wiped out, like Dr. O said in the beginning. You are what your parents, exposed you to.
Yes, sir.
We are all hypnotized Africans that have no idea about our primordial core, that don't understand our history because nobody taught it to you in school. How much African history do you get in school right now? How many Africans know that the vaccination for smallpox was developed by a black person? A slave, a Ghanaian that was enslaved right here in the United States. How many of us know that 85% of all scientific discoveries was by black people? How many people knew that it was the black Africans, the black Hamos that taught Europeans how to take a bath, how to shower, how to wipe their own behind?
Wow.
It was the black Hamos that taught Europe everything. As a matter of fact, if you go to Europe right now, go to Russia, go to the Vatican, you're going to see the Black Madonna. Half of the saints in the Christian church were black.
Yes.
But every saint in the Russian Orthodox Church is black. But because they have the educational system was forced on you, their educational system,
I think that
their political system, everything European was forced on you, whether you liked it or not. And now you speak somebody else's language. Even some Igbo people, you can't even speak Igbo in their house. If you speak Igbo, they tell you, why are you speaking Igbo? Speak English.
You cannot speak Igbo.
And now you have children. You understand?
You cannot speak Igbo.
That is what happens when your mind messed up and you have what we call Stockholm Syndrome. Where the bank robber who ordered food for people that were taken hostage, who worked at the bank, came out to say all kinds of good things about the bank robber, all because the bank robber gave them something to eat while he was robbing the bank.
Yeah, to add,
this is Africans for you.
Exactly.
This is how we are. Stockholm Syndrome. Mm-hmm. And for now, I keep it right there.
Okay, to add to what you just said, right? And sorry, let me add to something you just said. When you spoke about the saints being black, I think there was a time last year when Putin brought out an old portrait of Jesus, and it was a black man, and that news went viral. Also, the Ethiopian churches, right? Their Bible contains the apostles, and they're all black. So when you look about all of this, and also down to the Stockholm Syndrome, I have a son, I named him Chimeperemuzo. God has opened a way for me, and that is what I call him. I don't call him his English name. Chimeperemuzo. As you can see, these balloons, he just turned 1 year old, and that was what we named him. So
congratulations.
Thank you, sir.
Fantastic. I just want to add something.
Okay.
Thank you so much for that vibrant explanation. I just want to add that the difference, some of the misconceptions that we have about African spirituality is that we have nothing to offer. Instead, people teach us. We learn from others. Nobody learns from us. Now, you said something about the Coptic Church of Ethiopia. To the Greeks of ancient times, the black people were the paragons of moral perfection. They came to Ethiopia to learn from the sinless Ethiops. That's how much we were valued before the introduction of Christianity and Islam to the shores of Africa. We have now abandoned, and what they have used to change our minds is fear. We are afraid of going to hell. All of us, not all of us, of course, Many of these individuals who are bought into all of this are afraid to go to hell. Not realizing we're creating the hell right here.
Yeah.
That heaven that we're looking for elsewhere, we can make that happen here. After all, they're taking our resources and creating heavens for themselves where they are.
Actually.
Let me tell you a little story. I got to tell you this. This is important. I traveled to Nigeria with African Americans. There were several African Americans, and I took them to a cathedral in Omaha. When we walked into this massive structure, it was beautiful. When we walked in there were people sitting around watching us walk in. And these African Americans were appalled because when you look up, all you saw were the white angels. God was white, Jesus was white, angels were white. The only thing that was black was the devil, and the angel was stepping on his head with a sword.
Yeah.
These African Americans looked at me and said, "Is this for real?" I said, "That's what they're teaching them every Sunday when they walk in here." To the side of that building where a collection of black people sitting in a corner with a white pastor and two black people, black pastors, I suppose they were. They didn't know I could speak Igbo. The people that I came with told me, oh, I don't go. I said, no, I want to hear what they're telling these people. These are my people. I don't know what they're telling them. So when I went over there, I sat down. When they saw me, they didn't know what to say. Was she Igbo or was she what? What was she? So she told them, let's stop speaking English and start speaking Igbo. I said, yes. So they were telling these people, there was a young girl who didn't have money. They were telling her, the more you give us, the quicker you get to heaven, because it's easier for a camel to pass through the eye of a needle than a rich person to go to heaven. This little girl is saying, I don't have the money I have is for my mother, she's sick. The white pastor says, Bano. The more you give, quick. And you go to heaven. So I have money so they'll get to heaven. Nobody stood up. I said, now, if you're giving them your money so you get to heaven, stand up. Everybody stood up. So why are they not in a hurry to go to heaven? They have all the money. They should give it to you. So they go to heaven.
Right.
She's making a point. You're making so much point, man.
Fear on our people. And our people don't realize.
You're making so much sense, man.
Very.
There was a white box with a child dressed like Jesus Christ. You know what happened? A young boy of about 10 was dressed like Jesus Christ, and his white parents were in a Volkswagen, following him behind. And my people were bowing, kissing his feet, kissing his hand, because Jesus had arrived. You can't make this stuff up.
You can't.
You sure can.
You can't.
I just thought I'll share that with you.
I have something to add something.
Yeah. It's something else. Lord knows I got so many stories to tell that I ain't gonna bore you up with it. I think yours is good enough, man. That covers me a lifetime right there.
Yeah. I have a little something to add though. I think the problem most Nigerians have with this whole understanding Christianism and Chiism is because most Nigerians are living purely on survival mode. I'll explain. You cannot have zeal and passion for anything else, even the curiosity for anything else, if one, you've barely eaten since yesterday, if two, you have like piles of bills waiting for you, the likes that you don't even know when help is going to come from next. Then three, if you say you should follow the normal moral right way in Nigeria, that is go to school, get a job, and then work and earn a living, build your life, it's not exactly feasible here in Nigeria. Or okay, let me rephrase. I wouldn't say feasible. It's not for everybody here in Nigeria. It's for limited set of people. Because here in Nigeria, due to the level of poverty and people living on survival mode, that is why these people have the platform, have the mind and the avenue to teach and preach all these redacted theories and theses to people. So it's because of the hunger in the land. You can't hear me? Can you hear me?
Can't hear you very well.
Okay. I said, I feel...
I really hear you that well.
I feel the problem in Nigeria with all this Chiism and Christianism is because most Nigerians are living solely on survival mode. They've not fed, they've not eaten, they've not paid their bills, they have house rent, their kids are being chased out of school, their kids have torn clothes, they have things to do with money that they don't have. So these pastors now use dreams, they sell them dreams that these pastors, false hopes, they sell them dreams that do this and you get this. Now, because of this particular Nigerian has not eaten, does not have hope for help coming from anywhere. Come on. That's why they believe these people now. Because, okay, I'm no guy, I'm not with money. If I do this, I'm going to get this, no problem. I will do it. Desperation, hunger. That's what's the root of this thing. It's causing this thing. It's making these people to make decision out of desperation.
It's true. I mean, I totally agree with you. Let me put my 2 cents in. I think Dr. Simri has quite a great perspective, especially, from as a psychologist, a doctor. She will give you a better perspective beyond the spiritual part, My father said, you cannot hold a people at gunpoint that don't want to be held. It don't matter how big your army is. If the masses decide that you got to go, guess what?
You gotta go.
You gotta go. All right? How bad do you want change? What is the change dependent on them? And I don't say people are too busy trying to figure out what to eat right now, right? There's so many different aspects to this issue. One is education, which is very lacking. See, there's no education in Africa. What you have, if you're fortunate, is job training. You learn to be a lawyer, you learn to be a doctor, you learn to be an engineer. You just learn those to make a living.
You cry.
But as far as how the world works, you have no idea about politics, about history, about colonization and slavery and Africanism, how the colonization affects how we think. What is the educational system in place? Where does leadership play a role? Because these same people that are hungry and starving, guess what? If you have the kind of leadership in certain areas, for example, culture, good governance, like our Governor Oti, if you show the people the right example and insist upon it, guess what? They'll follow you. They will follow you. But all you're giving them is church. Where are the traditional institutions in Africa? Where is the educational system that says that African education is paramount before anything else? We should talk about our political heroes. We should talk about our heroes in leadership. We should talk about our heroes in science. We should talk about the contributions that people of African ancestry have made to civilized behavior. And you can only get it when you have cultural institutions like the Global Faith Ministry of Chiism, right? If you have programs like we have right now that educates people and talks about this stuff, if you have the kind of leadership that changes the educational system so that education focuses more on African stuff than anything else, you find out, I remember, Rome wasn't built in a day. This is going to be a gradual process. Yes. But you have to set institutions in place. You have to have the kind of leadership that will be able to incorporate this strategy in their policy.
Yeah.
Yeah, we do.
You don't have questions if you don't do it.
No.
There's some complicated political. If you put together institutions and systems, African consciousness and allows us to do the kinds of things that we need to do to create a better society where we are now independent of all these external forces that tells us that we can't do anything unless they're involved in what we're doing. We need to get their permission to be free. Okay? Check this out. education is really the only way that you could change in Africa. And it's going to come either by having the courage. There's no political rally that you've ever attended. There's no political rally that you know that talks about what we're talking about right now, Black consciousness and the educational system, and things that we need to do in terms of concentrating more on things that are African to show the world that we are capable of original thinking. And if we were not disjointed or separated because of slavery and colonization, which pretty much kept us from taking our rightful place in the universe, if colonization and slavery didn't happen in Africa, do you think we would be where we are now?
No, we won't.
There you go. We were never given the opportunity to develop like everybody else. We were caught up by the needs. Our great scientists were enslaved. Our hunters were enslaved. Our women that build, that understand nursing and everything were enslaved. The craftsmen were enslaved. Everybody that makes something to Africa that will help the generations grow were enslaved. It cut us off at the knees, and we, till today, have been unable to compete with the rest of the world. But thank you for Governor Oti, and thank you for people like Ibrahim Traore of Burkina Faso. And the reason why I'm bringing Burkina Faso up real quickly is simply this. Burkina Faso called a meeting of 1,000 DBS, native doctors, and then fired all the pharmaceutical companies in Burkina Faso and told them, leave the country. No more foreign drugs. He called a meeting of all the DBS and told them, I know that we have different herbs that cure different diseases. You are going to identify it, and we're going to incorporate that into our national medical strategy.
Wow.
It's going on right now in Burkina Faso. Ahaike Okonyoha also came up with the Trado Medical Center that we're promoting now, and the Trado Medical Center does the same thing to promote research into indigenous medicine.
Wow.
So that we can stop being dependent on foreigners whose medicine is really geared towards cutting us off at the knees, causing women to either have miscarriages or children to have all these little diseases where they end up dying at a young age, and so the next generation has nothing to build on.
I guess
that's population control.
So
population control.
It is about focusing inward. It is about having the right leadership that establishes the right institutions that are culturally aware and understand the significance of being culturally original. Because everybody else is culturally original. The Chinese is not trying to be Japanese. The Japanese ain't trying to be Chinese.
At all.
The British is not trying to be French. The French ain't trying to be German. Like the African want to be European. With your straight thick hair, with bleaching your skin, with going to church on Sunday and praying to a God that doesn't look like you, wearing clothes that...
Very thick hair.
The funniest thing to me as an African is to see an African lawyer with a black top and a white freaking wig on his head telling me he's a lawyer, as if I go to court like this, that I cannot argue a case. He's not more intelligent than I am because he has a white, and me, I walk into court with my traditional outfit, and you're telling me that I cannot practice law because of I'm being African. And for me to practice law, I have to look like a British lawyer. For me to be considered learned in law. Don't you think that's wrong? Over to you, Dr. O.
It's wrong.
Thank you, DWD. I want to say something based on the question this gentleman asked. You indicated that the problem with our people is because of poverty. Poverty is intentional.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a weapon.
Yes,
it's a weapon.
The weapon.
It's a weapon. As long as you're poor, your focus is on whatever will fill your stomach, whatever will alleviate your pain. You don't look around anymore. You don't. So these churches understand that. Now, I'm talking to you as a psychologist. If I can work on your mind, I'll make you do and give me whatever I want. I can convince you that your poverty can only be alleviated when you do something for me, or when you die and go to another place where it's just laden with gold. And you know what? You believe it. And so you go to church, you go to these places, and I'm here, I'm not knocking churches, but you did make a statement, and I'm trying to explain to you why mentally our people can't seem to pull themselves out of this mess, because they are convinced that poverty can be alleviated in the church, not by pulling themselves up by their bootstraps. You mentioned Burkina Faso. And let me tell you something. I am from Abia State. And I know how poor Abia State was. But Abia State's poverty was a mental problem until you got a good leader who talked to the people about self-development. People now see the possibilities, and they are working with the governor. They see it now. And they are working with the governor to improve their lives. What Burkina Faso did, if you look at all those roads, Burkina Faso was told you cannot develop those roads. They were told they were too poor, until this leader came and told them, we don't need machinery. We can do it with our hands. The roads that you're seeing going on in Burkina Faso, the people built majority of that with their own hands.
No.
If you go to Rwanda, you will not see a piece of paper on the floor. They've been taught that they have a responsibility to upkeep their communities. They threw away all these religions to open their minds. The most powerful tool in the hands of an oppressor is your mind.
Absolutely.
You can be convinced that you can't do, you're too poor to do. We, all over the world, Black people are the most educated.
Yes.
Yes.
And yet the most subservient.
Exactly.
The most
Because our minds don't belong to us.
We are still mentally trapped.
Pardon?
We are still mentally trapped.
Mentally trapped.
We are mentally trapped.
So, thank you. That's it. You know, a child who's hungry. Now, let me say something about hunger. I'm a product of the Nigerian Biafran War.
Okay.
My brother was much younger. Okay? We didn't have anything to eat. It was so bad. My mother had to go into the bushes and find leaves.
Yeah, I remember.
To cook. And she would eat it, she would taste it, and make sure it doesn't kill her. If it doesn't kill her, she'll cook it for the family. She never complained about poverty. We ate bugs. We ate birds. We ate rats, mice. We drank kerosene. We didn't complain.
It was that bad.
Let me tell you something. If you want to survive, you will survive. But when people are telling you don't have the power, the skills to survive, you will just depend on them. What we need, like Dibia Abidi said, is education.
Education.
And the education is to remind our people. Monachiso. One more thing and I'll let you go. My daughter, Helena, God help, bless us as her parents. She wanted to study science. The school she went to a predominantly white school because that was the neighborhood where we were. They told her she couldn't do science. They told her to study sewing, how to sew. That's what she's able to do. She wanted to do science. They didn't want to teach her. They didn't want to help her. Finally, they told me, tell your daughter it's beyond what she can do. When I opened my mouth and told my daughter said, Mom, I would rather fail than have them tell me what I can't do. Yesterday, she got her PhD in microbiology.
Woo!
Woo! Did you hear that? So now she's going to go to that school and give them her diploma.
Okay.
As a scientist, and she's talking about coming back to Africa and use of knowledge to help our community.
That's basically.
So we can change. Yeah, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So yes, to add to what you said, the only way to debunk all of this is to educate. That's basically why I told Mr. Yudi the other day when I was speaking to him for the first time. Basically, why we started this podcast is to enlighten people, is to educate people. We talk about a whole lot of things, and this Pan-Africanism, I believe, throughout the stretch of the year, when we're going to discuss this about, we're going to really educate a lot of people, because I know about the Stockholm Syndrome. I know about the hunger that's going on is on purpose, because a population you can control, a population that is hungry is the population that you can control. And a population where you have access to the information, you limit access to the information, is the population you can control. Now, if you ask yourself this question, why is it that the government of Nigeria removed history from our school curriculum?
Yeah. Well, one of the reasons, they don't want you to know about the Nigerian Civil War.
Exactly. And a lot of people in this generation
understand, they don't want you to even know that Nigeria fought a civil war. All right? They're trying to wipe Nigeria's history clean and act like all to control the next generation so that they don't have any idea how got to their position place. Why is Nigeria messed up? Who can answer that question if you don't know about the Civil War or what led to it? How did we get independence from the British? If you didn't understand that in the 40s, I think it was in 1943, Zik, as a guest of the British government, was the first person to ask the British government to leave their colonies within 15 years. How many Nigerian young children, especially Igbo people, knew that Zik was the one that started the conversation, not Kwame Nkrumah or anybody else? Nobody knew it. How many people know in Nigerian history that Ahai Keiko Onyoha was the founder of the Nigerian Legion? Did you know that? But you read somebody's history. But they formed it at the Kassasin Desert in North Africa during World War II, when he fought for the British government as a medic. And it was when they let him, it was after he formed it that he was court-martialed, and when he survived his court-martial and was released from the army, Zik now took him in as an editor with the West African Pilot. It is there that Ahai Keiko Onyoha now was able to write whatever he wanted against the British Army, British Empire, and in 1960, Nigeria got its independence. Ahai was part of that fight, and the only reason why you don't see him in the history books is because he's not Christian. If he was Christian or Muslim, you would be studying Ahai Keiko Onyoha right now in your classroom. And to me, personally speaking, the greatest African that ever lived, because he was the first person to come out and say, I am what I am by the grace of God, and if you don't like it, let the door hit you with it or split you. He didn't tell you to let my people go.
Where the sun don't shine.
He didn't tell you to let my people go. He didn't tell you I'll cross the Red Sea. He didn't do what anybody else did. He wasn't Nelson Mandela. He wasn't fighting that physical fight. He wasn't talking about just, take the chains off. He was talking about this. He was talking about this. Like Malcolm X. He understood that this is where it's at. If you change this, you change everything for us. But to change this, the only result you want is a people that are fearless to say, I am what I am by the grace of God. If you don't like it, that's your problem. You know why? Because the Chinese people say the same thing. I'm Chinese. Chinese religion, Chinese culture, Chinese science, and if you don't like it, that's your problem.
That's the problem.
The Japanese say, I'm Japanese, God damn it, and if you don't like that, that's your issue.
Nigeria.
The Europeans say, I am British, God damn it, and if you don't like that, that's your problem. The French says, I am French. But if it comes to the African, you don't even have the gumption to say, I am Igbo, and if you don't like it, that's your problem. Instead, you change your name to Sunday so that the white man can accept it, so that the white man can accept you. You change your name to Monday. You remove Ngozi and turn it into Blessing. Then you're walking up and down like a zombie.
Without having
Wednesday
an
evening,
idea of
you're in
where you
church,
came from.
doing church sermon. Saturday, you're in church, doing church stuff. Sunday,
Tuesday.
you're in church,
Tuesday.
praying to a God that don't look like doing European things. And you want to come back today and tell me Africa got a problem, and that problem ain't got nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with you. You're the problem because you're not asking for anything better. As far as the leadership is concerned, both the politicians and the religious people, for the religious people, they already believe that you're going to show up on Sunday and give them 10% of your money.
Of course.
Just so they keep you poor and not solve your problem.
Just so they keep you poor.
The politician already knows that he has kept you in a condition where you're starving so much that when politics comes around every 4 years, he will come with a bag of rice and you will sell the future of your children by collecting that bag of rice, giving them your vote, and your condition never changes. You know that goes on in Nigeria right now, don't you?
Yes, it does.
They do all the time.
It does.
They do all the time. And the reason is because you as an African, you as a Nigerian, have not asked for anything better. You have not looked at your condition and said, you know what? From now onward, man cannot deceive me. I'm going to change my condition. Nigeria can change real fast, at least as a unit. But it's something that we have to discuss outside foreign religion, foreign political system, foreign this and foreign that, and we're never doing anything or teaching anything African in our school. So what do you expect from the next generation? How are they supposed to build? What did you give them to build upon? That's what Chism is all about. That's what we're trying to do. If you go on our website, you see all our programs. Ogele will tell you, we have a program right now in our ministry in Port Harcourt in Nigeria. We have some people there, and what they do is part of what we call Onyinye program. And I'm just going to let Dr. O tell you about it. Tell them about Onyinye.
Yeah. Because we believe that religion is not about a set of dogmatic principles you have to follow. It is about what you do to uplift people. We got to each other. One of the things that we've realized is that the elderly are not taken care of in our communities. So we have young people that we pay. Several young people, we pay them every month. And all they have to do is go in the community and find elders. Visit those elders. Feed the elders. If they need clothing, give them clothing. And then we give them money. And consistently, they have to go and see these elders. Now, some of these elders didn't believe it. They said, and that was now they are seeing every single month, these young people come and visit them and make sure they're okay. And make sure, now we have one older lady who, her husband died and her family kicked her out. So we're going to rebuild her house for her. We're not asking anybody to give us money. Because it's not if you can do it. Yeah, we ask for donations. But it's for what? To show people that spirituality is more important than religion. And we give our young people an opportunity to care about their society, about their community, by going into the interior and finding people who are hurting and uplifting their lives. That's what the Onyinye Project is doing right now, taking care of elders.
Exactly.
It's if you go to our website, you see it.
Yeah, that's a nice project. So to bring us to the last question of the day, before we round up, I wanted to ask this, right? Why do some people immediately associate indigenous African spirituality with idol worship or paganism?
Education. We talked about it at the beginning of this program, in the middle of the program, and we're going to talk about it again right now. We talked about Mungo Park, discovering the Niger River, but to find out there were people there already, so he didn't discover a damn thing. It's education. If people are not educated, they will believe okie-doke, right? Have you ever heard of, again, I said education, misinformation. If you're not educated, you won't understand. I'm educated. I'm not misinformed. This is my business. Global Faith Ministry of Chism, Guardianism, Chism. That's my business. So I owe it to myself and people that listen to me to be very well vexed on the topic. First of all, I'm going to bring a few things in here. I'm not trying to blow your mind, but I might end up blowing your mind because I'm going to present information maybe in a way you've never really heard before. And you might find it sinful. But I will explain it when I'm done. You will understand where I'm coming from. Idol worship, voodoo, devil. Now let me ask you something.
Okay.
Do you know of any religion that believes in a creator, in Chineke, in God? If they don't believe that God does magic,
No.
walk on water. Walk on water is magic.
It's magic.
Flying sea is magic. Feeding 5,000 people with a loaf of bread is magic. Turning water into wine is a magic. Job going into the what do you call it? Somebody went into the whale in the stomach and survived in the stomach of Jonah. Was in the stomach of a whale and survived. It's all magic.
Actually,
the Bible is full of magic. Moses parting the Red Sea, and you're telling me about and worshiping idols. But Moses was dealing with freaking taking a stick of a calf and turning it into snake.
Yes, you're right, sir.
Turning water to blood. But you're telling me I'm an African that I'm in voodoo magic.
You're right,
Your
sir.
religion is full of voodoo magic, so your voodoo magic is acceptable, but my voodoo is not.
Okay.
You understand? These are the kinds of questions that you need to start asking as an African, because it's going to make your life a lot better, a lot easier, and you're going to be able to see things a lot clearer the way you're supposed to see it.
So
Secondly, and I will let me just finish this point.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of voodoo?
Yeah. Voodoo.
They call it voodoo, right?
Yeah.
Voodoo is a corruption of the word voodoo. And voodoo is Mother Earth in Togo and Dahomey spiritual culture. Like in our culture, voodoo is Ani.
Annie, okay.
You understand? It's Ani. The same thing. Now, when the French who colonized them asked them what they were practicing, what they were worshiping, the people said, we're paying homage to voodoo. The French corrupted it as voodoo. And because it's African and it's strange, they wrote it off as some magical mumbo jumbo. It went on to Hollywood, and Hollywood now turned that misconception into movies. So when you watch movies now, all the voodoo things that you see was something that was created in Hollywood. There is no such thing as voodoo. Doesn't exist. It is voodoo that the Dahomians and Benin people and the Togolese pay homage to. Because of the narrative of the European who either doesn't understand African spirituality or makes it his point of duty to make sure that people think of your religion, your culture and spirituality as something that is of the devil, that is not of this world, something that needs to be loathed. So they created a narrative and tell you that Africans worship idols. But you will never go to the village and see an African say, Chineke.
yes, true.
It doesn't
happen.
We don't worship idols, so it is just a question of education. If you're well educated, then the concept of African religion being about idol and all that kind of stuff will just disappear. Okay.
Mama, thank you. Well said. Let me just throw this a little bit in. How many of you have seen a mask? Have you seen masks?
Yes.
Of course you have. Okay. You know what masks represent to the people who use it? Right? Ancestors, spirit. That is their way of defining, of creating something that they can identify with that they don't see. Thank you.
This is a max.
That is their way of being able to collaborate spiritually with something they can't see. What they do is they create it. Idols, for those who have, and we Africans, we didn't have churches, we had shrines. And in those shrines, we created what they are calling idols, but these are figures that we use to identify Chineke that we don't see. It's just created for us to be able to say, okay, this represents what Chineke looks like to me, since I can't see Chineke.
Yeah.
They just create those things for psychological focusing and environmental
That's like the cross.
That's all it is.
Okay, what you're saying. Very good.
Churches have crosses.
Yeah, it's idol.
Okay, I
They
understand.
drink blood.
Ah.
They do all this. They eat Jesus' blood, drink his blood, they eat his flesh. These things are not real. It's psychological focusing. But the problem is when we Black people do it, because of the need to keep us mentally suppressed, we have to be told those things are bad. Don't do it. Even though the purpose of those things were positive. Black people never fought over religion. We never fought over religion. We will go to each other's shrine and swear by their hammer. We didn't fight over religion. I want to end this by reminding you, we have a responsibility to stand up as African people and be reminded that we are sacred people. We are not the bad people that religions present us to be. We're powerful, beyond measure. We just have to believe that. We have to start defining ourselves, speak for ourselves, speak up for what belongs to us. If somebody says something negative about your people, your ancestors, stand up and say no. Those practices that made us who we are, reclaim them, honor them, practice them. Reclaim them, honor them, practice them. And when somebody says something negative about it, you have to be able to say, no, you don't understand, and explain it. Chiism is explaining what African spirituality is, and that is what Dibia and myself, and all those who practice Chiism, that's what we're trying to say to the world. You are all of that, and then some.
So you said something. You said it's not voodoo, it's voodoo.
Voodoo. Yeah. Voodoo. V-O-D-U. Voodoo.
So they twisted the whole thing and gave it a different meaning.
Exactly. Hollywood did it. They made movies out of it, and the movies all of a sudden, as Black people now, when we see these movies, they are all psychological campaigns. You suddenly start looking down on yourself. Right? You start believing that your own religion and everything about you is of sin. It's the devil, all that kind of stuff. And now you've lost respect for yourself. You've lost respect for your culture. You've lost respect for your contributions to civilized behavior. You simply feel like a loser. And most of us right now in Africa believe that Africa can't be fixed. You know, it's too late. We can't do it. No, Burkina Faso just fixed themselves. Niger just fixed itself. Within 3 years, Burkina Faso makes computers. They're building cars. They got factories everywhere. They're the largest suppliers of tomato in all of Africa now. Within 3 years. So don't tell me we can't do anything. It's a question of, are you willing to give up their lives? Are you willing to get re-educated? And I'm not just asking the regular person in the street that is suffering. I'm asking the so-called leadership in politics, in business. Where are you? Who is setting the standard for the rest of the population to follow? Who is making the rules when it comes to educating people? One more thing, and then I'll leave it alone. Burkina Faso right now, just like we used to do when we were, in ancient times in Africa. I went through it myself, rites of passage. Burkina Faso now, every child, I think once you get to the age of 8, until you get to 18, they join a corps, like you have youth service corps or something. They join a corps. And those children from the age of 8 will be taught everything African. Their responsibility to build the next generation, to build the future. They're indoctrinated into an educational system that is Pan-African in nature. That's what we need to do in Nigeria. And the thing about Nigeria is so complex, we cannot solve the problem of Nigeria culturally by thinking in unison. Because you have Muslims here, you got Christians there, you got a mixture of all kinds of stuff. I'm a believer of charity begins at home.
Yes.
If we concentrate in Alibo, where charism comes from, and change Alibo,
I want
just
to add.
like Governor is changing Abia State.
Abia State, yes. I want to
If
add
we
something.
change that, yeah, go ahead.
I want to add something. So, to my own input to this is this: I usually say it's an intelligent person cannot be a religious person.
Yeah.
Let me repeat it. An intelligent person cannot be a religious person, because an intelligent person questions reality, while a religious person accepts whatever he says. And that is why a lot of people, once they reach a level of intelligence and maturity, they begin to question things, and then they break out of that mental slavery you're talking about. To give you an instance, I just recently cut my hair. I'm a fan of leaving my hair full. Like I like my hair used to be grown, so my mother will be disturbing me and you know, because me, the type of I just researched about my culture, the olden days. The men in that generations were they had dreads. They had dreads on. So one question I was asking is, when my mom's younger sister is outside the country, her kid, she just gave birth, her kid is like 4 years old. Her younger boy is on dread. And then whenever my mom sees the boy, she's happy. I'm like, but mommy, you are telling me that dread, it makes me look rough. But how come you're appreciating your sister's son? You're telling him his dread looks good and he looks nice. And I'm like, is it because of you, he's not here? And you know, one of the things is that when a white person comes to Nigeria to school, this is another thing about mental slavery that I noticed. When a white person comes to Nigeria or come to Africa, they are made to keep their hair. They let them keep their hair.
Yes, they allow them keep their hair.
But ourselves, black people ourselves, in the school, we are forced to cut our hair or we will not write exam. It doesn't make sense to me. What made us hate ourselves? What made us make our hate our appearance? What made us make our natural hair that our women don't like their natural hair? They'll tell them, if you ask black women, they'll tell you that they wear wig, from the cold, but their men are also leaving their hair, and their men's hair are more neater, are more fuller, and more stronger. So what is the excuse of carrying natural hair or artificial hair? So I believe it's a mental trap. We are still colonized mentally. We are free physically, but we are still colonized mentally. And that is why my son just turned 1 year old. My wife's mother was like, we should cut the hair. I asked my wife's mother, what is the reason behind cutting a child's hair at 1 year? She couldn't give me an answer. I said, if you cannot give me an answer, I'm not going to cut his hair. Because I'm in the medical field, I'm a medical student, there is no advantage in cutting a child's hair. All those things they are telling you is crap. It does not grow the hair faster. Instead, it exposes the scalp of the baby to the heat of the sun, and that can cause, a whole lot of things. The hair is meant to protect the scalp. So why are you telling people to cut their hair if you cannot give a reason behind it? If you ask them, say, my mother said, they say.
That's another problem we have.
So I'm not cutting my kids' hair for any purpose. It's only when they grow up and they want to cut their hair. If they want to cut their hair, they go cut their hair. But I'm not going to follow. I'm breaking off from that mentality. But the thing is, as I'm breaking off, they're fighting me. They're like, I don't want to follow the natural. I don't want to follow the natural way of things. I'm like, no. I'm not in that trap. I'm not in that box with you guys. I'm thinking outside the box. I've asked you guys questions. You guys cannot answer me. So don't involve me in that. My son is keeping his hair. If he wants to do dread, we'll take him to the salon. We'll make dread. If he wants to braid his hair, but the main thing is we should embrace our natural look. Not when, because I told my mom now, okay, I told her, so you don't have a problem if I go outside country, and she doesn't have a problem. So why do you then have a problem in our homeland? So these are the issues. So that's why I understand everything both of you said, and I'm very happy for this episode, and I'm very, very excited for the next one because it's overdue. We've actually gone past the time limit, but we were so engrossed in the conversation. So
I'm very excited about this debut. You guys have been such beautiful, generous hosts. Still a little more handsome than I am, but I'll be able to do that. At 66 years old, I think I'll let you have your.
You're 66? You look so young, sir.
Look a day over 40.
That
Sir, you look young,
people
bro.
in this world that think like you guys do, that have this zeal and this hunger to be part of that difference, to be part of the solution, as opposed to just talking about stuff over beer, at a pub or something. Nigeria's messed up, black people are stupid, blah, 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 blah. Then you go to bed, and then the next day you continue with the stupidity that you just complained about. But to see young folks like you guys that are really focused on trying to make a difference, I can't tell you right now, beyond my children, beyond my partner that I'm looking at on the screen right now, my wife and everything else, my sister, Dr. O, who is my hero. I mean, beyond my dad and mom, man, she's my hero. Really. If you want to talk about Mafibo, you're looking at it. Okay? You are looking at it, Dr. Osimi. Okay? You just have to go and read her bio. I can't tell you anything, but here's what I'll tell you. Dr. Osimi and I will make sure that you guys will be the spotlight. That's it.
Thank you, sir.
Bam.
A round of applause. Nice to meet you, man. I'm very, very grateful for this opportunity, and we'll give out the best content. Like I said, everyone is here. We've been excited. I've been discussing with you. And